Hey guys, this is Third Eye, and this is my first video, and I wanted my first video to be about Virgos, all about Virgos, Virgos. So I was raised by Virgos, Mama Virgo and Daddy Virgo. Virgos for cousins, Virgos as friends, all over my Instagram. I have a lot of Virgo clients, just Virgos everywhere. So one thing I notice about a lot of my Virgo clients, or one thing I noticed about Virgos in my family, like, you guys are going through a humbling experience this year. It may have started last year. I've noticed a lot of Virgos, they're having a few issues with love, your spirituality. I feel like there's a lot of spiritual challenges you're facing this year. When it comes to, being on your grind, careers, jobs, whatever you're doing, getting a degree, whatever you guys are trying to pursue right now, it feels like, it's been trying. You've been having a lot of, a few fallbacks that kind of hurt your pride a little bit. What I'm going to tell you, y'all are good. You're going to be good, like, especially the next year in 2019, I did a reading and I pulled the strength card for Virgos. Strength card, the way that shined at me when I was doing a reading for Virgos, for you Virgos out there, it's saying, hold on tight, y'all got this. A lot of reflection you guys have to deal with, this year and next year to come. There's a lot of reflection, a lot of spiritual work you have to do in order to move along, but you're going to feel good about it. You're going to have your ups and your downs, like everybody else, but you guys are going to be y'all going to be good this year. And I guess I'll explain a little bit more once I, talk about Virgos for a little bit, just, make you feel good about yourselves a bit. Virgos. Feel like astrology doesn't do Virgos justice. I feel like a lot of the credit that they give to other zodiac signs, I feel like Virgos, they have it in spades. Being sexy, you guys got it. I feel like Virgos are super duper attractive. You guys are super sexy. I noticed that the women, they usually have a pretty face, in my opinion. They have legs for days, chunky thighs, like muscle tone, from the men and the women. You guys have some serious muscles going on there. I feel like Virgos are definitely one of the athletic looking zodiac signs. Even when they're a little bit, on the heavier side, they still have, some great muscle tone. All Virgos, they come in different shapes and sizes. The men can either be really tall and skinny, kind of scrawny, or they can be below 6 feet, and they are very muscular, or they just have broad shoulders. Some of them can be pretty stocky. Those Virgos are very attractive, and they know it. A lot of them, they know that they're attractive, but the way they look isn't always what matters to them. I feel like astrology gives Leos too much credit, or even Geminis too much credit for being egotistical, but nobody is as, I wouldn't say Virgos are egotistical. I would say that they're pretty arrogant people, but for a good reason. They're very, very talented. Since they were children, they just knew, they were, I guess because they are very observant and they're very analytical, and they know how to piece things together. They're the zodiacs, problem solvers. There's other problem solvers out there, like Scorpios, I guess, a few others that I can't really think of the top of my head. But Virgos, you guys are just, you could just see things for how they are, and you can just piece things together. And your minds, your minds are brilliant. Always wonder why nobody else has it figured out yet. And you have this power of just intellect, this power of just capabilities, just doing, whatever you want to do, you're gonna do it. You guys are great at accomplishing your dreams and your goals. I feel like sometimes, there's a little fear that you don't want to, you have this fear that you may not be able to succeed, but it usually doesn't hold you back. And when it does, you just need a little bit more time, or you need a little push. Virgos, you have a choice to either use it for good and evil, or you have this choice to either, just let life pass you by or seize the moment. I feel like you use a lot of those gifts to just do normal things. I mean, you guys do accomplish a lot of things that are no easy feat, but I feel like you could do so much more with it. And I feel like life either just makes you not want to do it, or you let your fears or your insecurities get the best of you. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Honestly, I feel like, without Virgos on Earth, like, without Virgos, we wouldn't have, you know, uh, great business managers. We wouldn't have people who, build things. Virgos are very good at building things, whatever it is. I feel like the men actually like to, actually literally build things. I feel like Virgo men, they just have this talent and this just this willpower to create things. If they want to build a house, they will. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of Virgo men out there are in, like, carpenters or architects or something of that nature. The women, they're more like socialites. They're very good at social interactions. They understand, group dynamics. They understand where they fit into the fold of wherever they are, and especially in their careers and their families. Even though a lot of you tend to have a tough exterior, or because I mean, one thing I noticed about Virgos, you guys do like to complain. You like to complain about your lives, but you're not really complaining. You just want to vent, and there's nothing wrong with that, because everybody else likes to complain as well. But I feel like I've noticed, because I can sense, when people are telling me something versus, the energy or whatever they're actually trying to hide from me, which is fine. But in a Virgo's case, I know even though you guys complain about your lives, and what's going on with you, I feel like that's still just the surface. That's just skin deep. You have a lot of things going on in your minds all the time. A lot of the problems that are very much real problems. However, I feel like because you guys keep active, you're a very active sign. I rarely ever seen Virgos in one spot very long. They just got to keep moving. They're very motivated, ambitious, and determined people. And I feel like with the men in particular, they like to escape their problems, like their real actual issues, by just putting themselves to work. Just Virgos need to have a productive day, period, and that those around them that they can control, they need to be productive as well. The downside to a Virgo is that you guys are very, very critical people. You like to criticize people a lot, and you usually do it out of love, or because you can actually solve people's problems for them. There's nothing wrong with that. I just noticed that you guys kind of do a little bit too much. Another problem that I feel like, you guys I feel like the women, you don't mind taking advice from people. You do. Women will, the female Virgos don't mind going out there to ask for help or get new insight, or, see a different perspective. But the men, it's very hard for them to get out of their heads and take advice from other people. And when they do get that advice, they feel like, I don't feel like the Virgo men feel like they're smarter than everyone, but I feel like, because they're so independent, and they've been independent since they were children. Virgos have always been independent, but Virgo men in particular always are I would say, the ones who are always in charge of their lives. They make no excuse for whatever happens in their life. They understand how it happens. They're very, very, they're very, I guess, I wouldn't say dominant. I would just say, like, they're just very, they're natural born leaders. And it's very hard for them to take advice from people that are not doing what they do in a day. It's very hard to take advice from people who don't even got their shit together. And I get that. But Virgos, particularly the men I'm speaking here, you should learn how to take other people's advice and follow it. You're not the center of everything. And not to to get off track here, but one thing I wanted to also put out there as well is that, Virgos as a whole, the men and the women, if you kind of like to be the center of attention, and there's, like I said before, there's nothing wrong with that. I get y'all. I get that. You see how brilliant you are, and you don't really go out there and ask for attention, but when you are in a group, whenever you're around people, you're like, hey, right here, guys, pay attention to me. I am the queen, or I am the king. Let's do what I want to do. And when they're not the center of attention, they're bored. They're it's kind of like, it's a Gemini and a Virgo thing. That Mercury, that Mercury energy that just kind of needs to be it needs to be stimulated all the time. It needs to keep moving all the time. And they, because Mercury is right next to the sun, and it's the hottest planet and it's the fastest moving planet, is the first planet next to the sun. I feel like sometimes that Mercury energy, it thinks it's the sun. It thinks it's, and the sun represents the ego. And I feel like Mercury has absorbed so much of the sun's energy that it has created a huge ego for itself. So back to the Virgo men, you just because someone thinks differently from you, and Virgo women, you might want to hear this as well. Just because people think differently, if someone else thinks a lot differently from you, doesn't mean that they're wrong. I always say to a lot of Virgos, I'm like, people haven't lived this long. And, sometimes people, may not have their shit together, and you're like, I'm not going to take advice from someone who doesn't have their shit together, or they're too young, or they're too whatever. But, if they're still alive and kicking, obviously you didn't get this far by being wrong all the time. It doesn't hurt to just get out of your own head for a second and see someone else's point of view. It might actually help you. So back to the downsides of Virgo. So another thing that you guys can be is gossipy. Virgos are very, very, very gossipy people. They kind of like to create their own dramas. I don't think their dramas are that serious for me to make it come off as, like, as mean. But, you do kind of, are the makers of your own demise. You're the makers of other people's demise as well. When a Virgo is very angry with you, when they want to get back at you, sometimes they may get up in your face and, might want to fight you or argue with you, or whatever the case is. But most of the time, they usually play underhanded things to kind of get their way. They can be pretty spiteful if you've offended or hurt a Virgo. And Virgos, they're the innocent one. They're the virgins. So they want to look innocent at the end of the day. They don't want to come off as being the bad guy in the situation. They're definitely the types to point the fingers at other people in what they're doing. That's all Virgos. I've met a lot of good sweet Virgos, sweet loving Virgos. Because of all Virgos, you guys are all very, very sensitive, and you have beautiful souls. I believe when you guys like to talk to someone that you can confide in, you lay bare of all of your crimes. You lay bare for all the things that you've done, and you recognize it, and you want to change. Now, do you guys actually want to change afterwards? It depends on the Virgo. It depends on what is in front of you at the moment, because I feel like you guys don't want to just go back to being bad people to be bad people. No, not at all. I feel like you have this situation that you're in. You're very aware of what you're in, and you guys have to stay focused, and you're like, what, I have to keep moving, I have to keep going. So that, the apologizing and stuff like that's going to have to take a back seat. You guys are more so like, when the battle is done, when the war is over, then I'll go back to, making amends. But until then, that's actually not necessary. Another thing that, another downside to a Virgo is, like I said before, like, when things aren't necessary, there's a heap of things that you guys feel like it's not important. You guys see in black and white, gray area will slow you down. Gray area won't pay the bills. Gray areas won't, get you a job and give you money. You guys have to think technically. In a very technical mindset, it's either black or white. It just has to be, otherwise you'll slow down, and being stagnant is just detrimental to a Virgo. It's very detrimental to Geminis as well, with that Mercury energy, like I discussed before. But yeah, that's just the quick downside to a Virgo. And, and your egos, like, go back to the ego and the arrogance part. I understand why you're egotistical, like, you're brilliant people. I won't take that away from you. No one should ever take that away from you. I feel like the world cannot turn without a Virgo. You guys can get a little too controlling after a while, but, you kind of have to, or else things just won't get done. And I get that. I totally get that. I mean, I was raised by Virgo parents, and, I'm a Libra, and they're like, hey, look, you can be dreamy and stuff like that. You could be lazy, or you could work and, cater to your laziness. And, they just have this backwards, thought process of what laziness actually means. My father says, like, oh, Nia, he always told me, ever since I was little, he's like, I'm actually pretty lazy myself, but because I'm lazy, I have to make sure that I get this, my bachelor's degree, and then get my master's degree, and then, get a promotion, and, become a manager, and I have to just, work and supply to my family, and then I'll relax. And when a Virgo, there for Virgo men. Virgo women know how to chill out. They definitely know how to take their time, enjoying their little time offs and relaxations. But Virgo men don't understand what that means. Their relaxation is just to keep moving. And I feel like I've learned that behavior from my father, because that's what laziness really means. Even what just recently on my vacation, all I did was work. All I did was try to appease other people, and that's just a vacation for me. I cannot stay stagnant. I don't even have that many Virgo, in my chart. I only have Virgo in my Jupiter and my Venus. I don't know. It's just how I am, and that's why I understand Virgos in that way. The challenge of Virgos this year, from my reading, besides I know I just pulled the Strength card, but from my feelings, I paid attention and listened to a lot of Virgos and what they're going through right now. Sometimes it's love, work, definitely with the competition that they may face. I have an opponent or someone who is they might have won, or someone who's better than you. I'm speaking just about this one particular Virgo in general, but because I speak to her a lot more, I've noticed that a lot in other Virgos as well. A lot of them have been going through a few losing streak, or they feel like things aren't just taking off fast enough, or and they just feel down in the dumps. And I get that. And other Virgos I've spoken to, they're having relationship issues, and then there's a combination of both, where they feel like their lover is not supporting them in their dreams or their goals, or their lovers are kind of holding them back. And I get that. Another thing, as far as I'm going to go back into the lovers part, they feel like, why is this guy doing this? Or this guy loved me, or I've been with this guy for X amount of years, and I feel like, he's not paying attention to me, what's going on? I feel like, you Virgos, you're talking about these issues, but one thing that I sense, kind of going back to the Strength card, is that, there's a lot of spiritual reflection you need to go through first. I feel like you're thinking about all these things, but I feel like the universe is calling to you. I feel like God, or whoever or the spirit, whoever you believe in, it's calling to you. And I know Virgo women, Virgos are very intuitive, particularly the women. The Virgo men don't really like to dabble in the metaphysical and stuff like that. But for the women I'm kind of speaking to in this case, you feel it. I know you all feel. You guys are very intuitive. You can read people. You guys have that. You have strong psychic abilities where like I said before, like you read people, you can see right through them. I feel like Virgos are the best human lie detectors ever. They can always see through your bullshit. Always see through your bullshit. And they just kind of be like, yeah, that's great. And I feel like they just find a different way to kind of get you to do whatever it is that they feel like you need to do. The universe is challenging you to explore that deeper. I feel like if you, do things that you've never done before, as far as like, I know there's some Virgos out there who are readers, who are tarot readers, but for those who aren't, I suggest you buy a tarot deck. I would advise that, you do yoga or meditation, go camping, go gardening. Like I said before, meditation, once you just do a little bit of that, it would, that your third eye, your psychic abilities will just open like a floodgate. Your dreams will be a lot more vivid. The signs will definitely become a lot more clear on where you need to go. As far as the men, like I said before, some of you are not all that spiritual, and that's fine. I would suggest that you guys go see a therapist, or speak to someone who can help you deal with your issues. I don't really don't want to come down on Virgo men that much, but I notice all of you, and it all stems from childhood. I feel like because of neglect, because of being overlooked or being taken advantage of, because your parents knew that you guys are very independent. They didn't really, give you all the love and care that you kind of needed. And when they do kind of give you the love and care, they kind of always expected a lot out of you. You always were such a reassured as children, so they feel like they didn't really need to care about you. And I feel like that you guys developed some anger issues out of that. Neglect and rejection is very hard for Virgo men. They don't like that. It really does hurt. It hurts them so much. But, they kind of just keep moving. They just find they find new ways of coping by handling different projects at a time, or goals, or, just focusing on their careers or whatever they want to do. I feel like the universe this year is telling you to slow down, just slow down. I feel like things may not work in your favor because the universe is like, hey, I don't know how many more stops I have to pull before you fucking pay attention. And for a Virgo man, because you may not go see a psychic or anything like that to fix your problems. And I kind of agree. I think that's not the practical way to go about it. But I think seeing therapy, confiding in someone you trust who's doing who has the same practical mindset as you do will definitely help you. Will definitely help show you the way. And if you don't want to do that, I would advise, talking to someone who's your exact opposite. Someone that is a little impractical in the way they go about life, but yet they still succeed. I feel like instead of writing them off so quickly, you'd be wise to pay attention and talk to them and maybe see where they're coming from. Honestly, even though I'm saying this, I kind of feel like I'm wasting my breath because you may not do it. And that's fine. I just wanted to put that out there. So the universe is challenging Virgos, this year and the year to come to reflect and, just stop for a second. You don't have to stop everything that you're doing, but have those moments to yourself and, just think about who are you? Who are you really? And where am I supposed to go? And I feel like once you do, the signs will just come out of nowhere. Not even just out of nowhere, they'll just be a lot more clear and you're going to be happy. And I feel like I feel that even though Virgos kind of know the issues that they're going through and they know what they kind of need to do, they're okay with it. And I feel like I don't need to really tell you further what you need to do. You kind of already do. And you're going to have a good year. You're going to have new obstacles. You're going to have a lot of struggles. And you're going to have good times as well. You're going to have great, some winning streaks and stuff like that. That's good. But even, the downside to it, I feel like you're still going to be happy. You're going to be okay. You're going to be on your grind. You're going to keep doing what you're doing. And the moment, whatever it is that you've truly wanted comes to you, you're going to be happy. You're going to be glad you've waited. You're going to be glad you understood that, things don't just come to you just because you work hard. Things don't always just come to you because you're gifted or you're talented or you're capable. Hard work doesn't always just give you everything that you need. Controlling your environment doesn't always give you what you need. Just standing back and let the universe work itself out for you in your favor. You're gonna know people are just gonna be doing things for you. You don't even have to say anything. They just do it. And that's going to be like, that's good. That's great. So, honestly, I wanted to make this video because I wanted to tell you guys, y'all are good. Y'all are good where y'all at. You're going through your shit, but you know what? You're going to come out on top in the end. And I'm going to end this video on that note. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is my first video. And I'll try to keep posting every Tuesday and Friday. So if you feel like I may have missed something, or you may feel like you want to add, tell me something about Virgos that I may have missed, leave it in the comments below. And I'll see you guys later.